The world cannot develop without a continued emphasis on science and technology. And if we try and stand still, we're in trouble. So we have to move forward. And I think placing it on the agenda of the G20 is absolutely essential.
And I think China is correct to bring innovation as a discussion item into the G20. Overall, China has, as you know, stressed that it wants to, put in this aspect of innovation. It wants to ensure that it is, invigorating or raising the bar on actions, including on structural reforms. It wants to focus on interconnectedness, including on trade and investment, and it wants to make sure that the growth is inclusive. So I think that's a nice thematic way to link all the agenda items. But then from here, what China will have to do with the G20 is to say what then are the concrete deliverables.
Unless you have social acceptance for the new path and environmental sustainability, we cannot possibly reach economic prosperity. China's role in focusing on policies that promote innovation as a driver for their growth is very important, particularly if this innovation can be seen to be environmentally sustainable and socially acceptable. How to achieve such innovation will be a big challenge for the Chinese presidency. So my expectations for China are high because of this broad agenda of complementary issues that China has brought into the G20 agenda. And it comes at a critical time in history. And therefore, I believe China is well placed to make a strong mark.
Well, I think it's very important what China is doing, placing innovation at the center of the G20, because innovation is now placed at the center of the Chinese domestic policy. And now this has become an agenda for the world at the G20. This is extremely important. The problem is that we still have a major financial crisis and a lot of threats on the horizon that can destabilize that type of a development. But the directionality of where it's going is absolutely essential. The world cannot develop without a continued emphasis on science and technology. We have certain limits to what we can do with our present technology, and if we try and stand still, we're in trouble. So we have to move forward, and I think placing it on the agenda of the G20 is absolutely essential.
So the new source of global economic growth is actually going to be pretty similar to the existing sources of global economic growth. Innovation is actually a process that has been happening for many centuries. It is something that will continue to happen, and economies will need to adjust to that. The actions which governments have, the policy toolkits they have, you can think of broadly in three main areas, and that's fiscal policy. Related to fiscal policy is structural reform, and the third is monetary policy settings. And those are still going to be the toolkits that governments are going to rely on when they come to trying to spur growth. This happened in all the traditional economy industries today. These are going to be the same tools that will be used in managing innovative new industries as well.